Welcome, my fellow Virgos, to your February 2026 tarot reading. So, Virgo, by the way, Virgo of all placements and those intuitively guided, you know, if you're here, you're meant to be here. That's just the way I feel. But let me tell you a few things I was picking up as I was pre shuffling your cards. This is when I'm just really meditating on the sign. So, I feel like February is going to open up like with divine timing, finally making sense. Um, with also a quiet knowing. So divine timing is now going to make sense. There's going to be this quiet knowing. And I also feel what may have felt delayed for you wasn't denial, it was protection. And Spirit wants to show you why in this reading. Plus, Spirit's already working behind the scenes. I can feel it. And that's what I've been hearing. Like, we're on it. We're on it. So let's see what February wants to reveal to you through the tarot cards and our spirit guides. So let's go ahead and bring the lid down. Let me just make a little room. So we are going to open a reading with Mother Mary. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to go deeper, and deep we go, especially for Virgo, right? That analytical mind, but also many of you, you carry that psychic knowing. So, I'm curious. Have a feeling this is going to be a good reading. I just have a feeling. All right, let's go ahead and open up your reading, and let's start with Mother Mary. Mother Mary, for my beautiful Virgos, those intuitively guided. I feel like there's a few here who, you may be in love with the Virgo, and okay. I feel like your guides just want you to know that they know you're here. By the way, all your guides know you're here. But I feel like this person, or there could be a couple of people, needed like that validation. All right, Mother Mary. Okay, trust. Trust. I know that God, in His infinite wisdom and love, is answering my prayers right now. So interesting how I was picking up about divine timing and us finding out why. So it begins with trust, quiet. I go into peaceful silence and I listen. This is where you pick up your signs. This is where your guidance is sent to that quiet mind. And, sometimes it's hard to quiet that mind. So I would not be surprised if your guides visit you in your dreams, whatever they need to do. And then, interesting, patience. This is very much like temperance. Here it says, I trust in divine timing. Literally what your guides were talking about. So, truth or trust, I'm sorry, quiet and patience. But I feel like the time for patience feels like it's coming to an end because it feels like something, maybe major, is opening up. All right. Let's put Mother Mary over here. There you go. And let's bring in the Universal Tarot. And Virgo, this month I am going to do this Celtic Cross. Um, it's just been producing like the most amazing readings Okay, that doesn't want to get picked up. So we shall let it be. Um, yeah, it's been giving the most amazing reading, so, why fix something that's not broke? All right, but there are positions in this reading, and I will tell you as we go along. So number one is current energy. I like them down because I like the mystery, because I honestly don't know, what's going to come up, except from what when I was meditating on your sign. So anyways, current energy. And then what crosses that? So it can be a benefit. It can be something you need to consider. We'll see. Number three is, well, the subconscious mind. Number four, your past. Number five, the conscious mind. And if you notice, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind mirror each other. And then your near future. And your near future mirrors the past, with this one card like being the bridge. So we'll see. Then you, all about you. External influences, factors, noise. It can be a benefit. It can be something, well, we'll just see what it wants to be. Next is your hopes and your fears. And then last but not least is the final outcome. But this is why we do these readings, because if we don't like the final outcome, this is going to show us how we can change it, if we so choose. There is free will. Let me slide my coffee over. I meant to look before we started this reading to see if Mercury is in retrograde, because it kind of feels that. I have no clue if it is, but I kind of feel that. Hmm. All right, let's start with current energy. Nice. Three of Wands. I like that. This is the energy of optimism. This really is about trusting in divine timing. But there's no anxious energy here. This is like truly trusting. Like, I know my ships will come in, and I know they'll come at the right time. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy today, because this is about like today. And think about what you're thinking about. Because if we remember that we're all the alchemists this year, that puts great power in our hand. Like, our intentions can come back to us faster than ever now. So when I say think about what you're thinking about, what I really mean is the more optimistic you can be, even if there's chaos around you, right? Because the one thing you can control is you. And I am noticing all this new growth on their wands. So feels like something new. All right, let's see what crosses it. Wow. First of all, this is a Virgo card. But how about success? I feel like trust yourself. You have the ability to create and to really bring abundance to yourself. The meaning of this card is successful self-employment. And it's kind of beautiful that it's coming over the Three of Wands. Literally. If you're trying to manifest, let's say ideas, epiphanies, or even money, something to maybe get you started on this path. Some of you, I feel like you're already on your way. And this may certainly talk about you're starting to see the fruits of your labor. Interesting. This is a very independent energy, but I don't mean independent as in I don't want anyone else in my life. This is a I can take care of myself energy. Not that I wouldn't welcome someone in my life, but once you're in this energy, I feel like you look at love differently. You look at everything differently because, again, there's not a need. You know what I mean? It's not like I have to have this or that. You, right now, feel like you are, and again, this may be, well, February is tomorrow. So this may be something that opens very quickly for you. I definitely want to say pay attention to like epiphanies, like when you go into that quiet mind. Because for some of you, this is what you're about to create. And, I love the Nine of Pentacles being a Virgo because I feel like success is definitely something we can create. Okay, let's go to the subconscious mind. The King of Wands. Who is that, Virgo? Can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's interesting that this king is in your subconscious mind. He is looking at the past. He does have a wand in his hand. Boy, I just wonder for some of you, like if this is someone that you're going to meet along the way. And you know what I've been picking up a lot lately is people having like romantic dreams, but in the dream, the person is faceless. Like you never get the opportunity to see their face. And I do want to say, with me being a Virgo, Sam is also a Virgo. I did have two dreams about him before he reached out, and they were both faceless, but I knew it was him in the dreams. It took me a while. I mean, they were vivid. Um, so anyways, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm feeling. All right, well, let's go to your past. Seven of Pentacles. And it's interesting because the Seven of Pentacles, its first message is patience. And this is about seeds that you have planted or seeds that you will be planting. But this is in your past, so I feel like seeds that were already planted. Some of these may have been, again, planted in the subconscious mind. And it's like the human part of you is not aware of that yet. And the patience is because, literally when you plant a seed, you want to give it time, right, to grow. Like you don't put it in the ground and then boom, you have a flower, right? It takes nurturing, it takes sun, whatever it needs. And, I just simply feel like some of you, this is about seeds that you've already planted, and some of them are subconscious, so you may not even know. But I feel like because Mother Mary is also talking about now energy, the Three of Wands is now energy. So, some of you, it was a way, or it will be the way to create a business for yourself. And by the way, the Nine of Pentacles, the meaning of that card is successful self employment, but it doesn't have to be. It can be like, you becoming a leader, a promotion, the money I need to begin something. It's also interesting. You see this little birdie like whispering in her ear, and I feel like it's epiphanies, it's ideas, even direction. Like I'll show you how to reach this. But I feel like these seeds that were planted in the past are now coming to fruition. So again, I feel like the time of, like, well, just like Spirit said, they're going to let us know what divine timing means for you. Well, here is like, I feel like the Seven of Pentacles is also your tree of life. So some of these seeds were planted before you even came into this lifetime. And I often feel that with like soulmate energy. Like, let's plant this seed before we're born. And then, we're born with amnesia. So I feel like part of the soul's adventure is, can we find each other? With all the noise of the world, can we still find each other? All right, well, let's go to the conscious mind. Interesting. Five of Cups. So, number one, it is a five. Advise, ask for change, gracefully, if possible. But that is what five means. And, why would you need change here? Because this is where, and this is in the conscious mind, so you're aware of this. This can talk about like a period of time when you were focusing on, the things that have gone wrong, the relationships that didn't work out, or a relationship. I feel like this person has the cloak of the hermit on. So even though it can represent sadness, missing someone, I still feel like lessons. There were lessons in some of those cups. Now, in the Five of Cups, when this person changes their focus, and remember the Three of Wands again is optimism, living in the present moment, but also trusting in divine timing. Wow, there's two cups behind this person. They don't know that because they're looking at the past. And it doesn't mean that these two cups can't be someone of the past, but it could be past lives, because I feel like you haven't met them yet. Or let's say if you have met them, I don't know, I just don't think they're in here. Because I feel like part of this soul's agreement, let's say, was when I make this change, when I stop focusing on prior relationships. You can take a different perspective also. Instead of like, woe is me, why do I keep getting my heart broken? Analyze that. Like, where is my energy at? However, I feel like, this is interesting because I feel like your money is amplified for February. And I feel like that's just the starting point. So if I focus on it, then I feel like you're just growing something and it's just going to blossom. I just feel that. I feel no restrictions around your money. Now, your emotional house, a little different. But those two cups, I feel like lie within the Seven of Pentacles. They're part of. So let's go to your near future. Hello, Six of Cups. Someone that I used to know. Interesting. Five of Cups, Six of Cups. What's bridging them or connecting them? The Nine of Pentacles. For some of you, it was important. Probably to your soul, that you found this independent nature. And again, it doesn't mean like like all your success is being shown in February, but I definitely feel there's a certainty that you're on a right path because it just feels right and it's producing fruit. And I feel like part of this is, when I see a nine, um, nines are about reflection, but I often feel nines are also singular. So I may be single here. This king in my subconscious mind may also be the Six of Cups. I'm not feeling any like Virgo beware. No, quite the opposite. I feel like the things that are happening in February, it's like when your spirit guide said they've been working behind the scenes. Well, yes, they have. Yes, they have. And they're helping you to bring some of these seeds into your reality. So, Six of Cups, nostalgia, happy memories. I read this both as past lives and for some current life. And, let's just put it this way. If you know who this person is, when you think about them, it's not heartache and anxiety that comes up. Smile comes across your face. Some of you, I'm telling you, you've been dreaming about your future soulmate. It's like spirit's getting you ready. Well, there you go, behind the scenes again. Some of you may have recently become single, but if that's the case, I really don't feel like sadness attached to that. The Five of Cups could add a little in there, but honestly, I feel like the Five of Cups is talking more about the Two Cups, which is soulmates. And the Seven of Pentacles with the Six of Cups can definitely be past lives, and probably is, but also this lifetime. I mean, what's the sense of just talking about a past life if we don't relate it to what's going on right now? All right, I'm going to keep going. I am going to come back with the Gilded Tarot, and we'll go deeper. That's why I'm moving rather quickly. Well, hello, Emperor under you. Let me tell you, business ownership, leadership abilities like no other. And it could only come from your experiences. Yes, some of this could be book smarts, but I feel like this is you standing strong. This is your foundation, like stronger than ever. Now, having said all that, because I feel that's all true, I also wonder if this is a future partner. Aries. I spent 25 years with an Aries. We're still friends. All right, let's go right above them. The Three of Pentacles. It's like what you do in the world. The Three of Pentacles is about recognition and reward. It's really celebrating your individuality, your craft. This means also partnerships, alliances, connected to the Emperor. This can potentially speak of a partner, like a partnership within business. But if that's the case, each one would really notice the other's abilities. Now, if it has anything to do with love, I love the Three of Pentacles in love because it wants you to be you. They want you to be you, and you want them to be them, especially if this is talking about love and the future and the Emperor. And by the way, you don't have to think of Aries unless that applies for you. What I think about with the Emperor is this is someone I can look up to. This is someone who, um, even though we're really opposites, this is someone who can, well, Pisces is our opposite, but Aries is very close to that. But what was I going to say? I feel like one of the ways you can tell, like if this is your soulmate, this is someone who is very compassionate, very understanding. This is someone, if they see someone in trouble, they're going to run towards that person, not run away. They're going to run in to help where others run away. And there is a sense of just proudness. But I mean that on a spiritual level, like their spiritual team, like proud of them. Interesting. And this may be the same as this king that's in the subconscious mind, but again, we'll go into more detail. So get your hopes and fears. Ten of Swords. First of all, I want to say this person is looking at the swords. So they're recognizing it. And that could be the first step to ending this type of energy. This is literally you taking dagger after dagger. Could be coming from one person, could be just your whole life. But this person has to see it, admit it, and end it. Because this often is a repeat pattern. I often associate karma with this, like, is there a karmic lesson? And often the karmic lesson is learning how to choose you over, you know, like anyone who's putting these type of swords in you, there's your answer. But you have to say that. You have to know that. And I like that this person, if nothing else, is aware. I keep taking these swords. And I get it. Under your hopes and fears, you don't want this to happen anymore. And I feel like that's why we're seeing this person recognizing it. You know, I keep feeling like we have truth out, but I feel like that it all begins with your own truth. All right, so get the final outcome. Powerful, because what I think about, I bring about. I mean, how I often see the Eight of Wands is four wands are going out into the universe. That's my intentions. And then four wands are coming back. Energy must meet energy. I have to know where my energy is at if I truly want to manifest. And this is also fast moving energy. And I feel that for you. I feel like things, it feels like things are turning around very quickly. Opportunity is showing itself out of the blue. Someone in your subconscious mind is becoming your reality. I feel all that. So we don't really want to change the outcome. We just want to recognize that, right? The abilities that we have. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. The Hierophant. So it's a 5, card of Taurus. Um, and remember, 5, change, but sometimes it wants you to question that change. In the Hierophant, you know what I love about this, by the way, are these 2 keys. Because I feel like that's the keys to your kingdom. There's 2 keys. 2. So I feel like the Hierophant just wants you to ask yourself a couple questions. Am I living life according to my morals? Or have I been lowering my own morals, my own vibration to meet another? In the Ten of Swords, that's exactly what it is, right? I'm living their life, not my life. Because look at everything, look at your potential. And part of this reading may be to recognize that potential. This feels like it feels like an exciting month. All right, let me grab a drink real quick. Let's bring out the Gilded Tarot and let's go deeper. I just love this line right here. Though I don't love the 5 of Cups, I do love the 2 Cups. And then it follows into the 6 of Cups that follows into the Emperor. I get this sense that many of my Virgos are, you are thinking about your own life. You are thinking about your own creativity and all that you can do with that. And some of you, I'm telling you, you're receiving epiphanies. But I feel like it's because these seeds are coming to fruition. And it's interesting, I just said seeds again. So it feels like, we can say it feels like a wish coming true, but it is your soul seed of intention. And what I mean by that is, we can't choose everything before we come into this lifetime. We get to pick our parents. We get like a glimpse of it's going to be hard or that, you know what I mean? But nothing that we cannot handle. That's the thing. It's never anything that we cannot handle. Doesn't mean that we don't leave some things incomplete, but then we come back in the next lifetime and try to complete them. So this lifetime, I feel like maybe you've already been through these hard lessons. Maybe you are having true realization now. And that may just be opening the door to everything. All right, let's start at the current energy. Hmm. 6 of Pentacles, but it's in reverse. Binary give and take. It's in reverse. I don't naturally think that's a bad thing. Because I feel like for some of you, what this is saying is that you are very fair. And you know that it takes, an equal give and take in a relationship. But I feel like for some of you, you shut that down for a little while. And you probably concentrated on your craft, on your money, your job, whatever it may be. Wow. I don't know if concentrate on my job. It feels more like something within your creative house, but that can truly be fruitful for you. So that's kind of what I feel here. Like the Ten of Swords, there's no way I was receiving. I was receiving daggers, but that's it. Okay. And, let me say this for those who may have, like, just said, I'm taking some time out from love and I'm going to put the focus on me. Number one, I think that's a great thing. You should be proud of that. But there's always a but. But this is a good but. But I feel that, I feel like your soul, well, your soul does. Um, okay, let me just put it this way. I feel like your soul's choices are about to surprise you. And I'm not sure why. It's just what I'm hearing. All right, we have the Knight of Swords. Could be communication coming in. He is coming right in towards you. He or she. Could be that person in the Six of Cups. Chances are if you may be dreaming about someone in your subconscious mind, they probably are too. You know, why? This feels like it's divine time. And I have to say, the past energy, I feel like mainly what it was calling for was patience. Because when you think of like your tree of life, I often relate it to like an apple tree. I'm not going to pick an apple until it's ripe. And now I feel like the apples are becoming ripe. All right. I want to take one more on that. Justice. Well, that may be why I felt some of you are now single. You know, this Ten of Swords, it could have been karmic. And, it could have came from one person or again, could be from many people. And now justice showing. I feel like number one, this is you reclaiming your life. And if this was a karmic lesson, and now that you see it and realize it, well, hello, now karma is paid back. And that may be one of the reasons why your soul came into this lifetime. I want to pay this karma back for eternity. Justice represents something's unbalanced. And to find that balance, I have to use that sword. It can be energetic, like my thought system, or, other people's thoughts on me. But what do they know? Because justice is about making you whole again. But it does feel like I had to use that sword. And I feel like the sword is different things for different people. Some of you, literally, you ended a relationship. But can I say that feels like the sign that you may be ready? Though I do feel like if you end a relationship, you may have taken some like time out of love. Like, no, no, thank you. but that doesn't stop love. I can say, nope, I'm gonna put my energy. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've said that. Speaking of the Aries that I was with for 25 years, I literally said at that time point that I didn't trust my own energy. This is way back. Um, but I just knew that at that time, that's who I was meant to be with. It was that clear. It's what I needed. Someone who was responsible, someone that I could look up to. It's exactly what I needed at exactly the right time. And I didn't want it. I didn't expect it. That's all I'm saying. And although we didn't, like we did break up, we did spend 25 good years together and we do remain friends. Okay, let's keep going. Let's come down and find out who this king is and what he is doing in your subconscious mind. The Hierophant, King of Pentacles. Look at this and the beautiful Empress. And hello, Virgo. Emperor right there. I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps. The Hierophant. Let's start here. Because it's also um, on the bottom of the deck. Double Taurus energy, by the way. So, in your subconscious mind, you know what it feels like? Well, how do I say this? Okay. So, I feel like for some of you, again, like during the day, your mind is busy, you got a lot on your plate, maybe. Um, so your guides are reaching you. And listen, you may have dreams that you don't remember, or you only remember like bits and pieces. If this resonates, that's this part of it, I would keep a little dream journal. You don't have to write everything down, just like write the bullet points of what you remember, because I have a feeling it will tell a story. But anyways, I definitely feel like um this has been about your own growth. How beautiful to see the Empress and the Empress, the creative one, right? The one who is, I mean, we're all receiving epiphanies, but she's the one who knows to listen. Like she trusts her intuition over everything. She doesn't build up walls because she knows her intuition will guide her. And for some of you, this is what you've been learning. I mean, you want to talk about vibrations lifting, like, hello. And I just love that she's so close to the Emperor. King of Pentacles. He is sitting right next to Taurus. Um, but let me tell you what I feel, that if I'm asking for love, This is what I feel you're asking for. You're asking for someone that you don't have to fix, and you're not meant to fix. Just know that. And it's different. When I say fix, I don't mean teach, because there's many times that we're planting seeds within people, and that's merely all we were meant to do. It's like someone who sees the world in one way, but you know, that's just not the truth. So, and let's say, they're just not interested in listening to what you have to say. Well, you can plant that seed, and that's it. And that may be all you were meant to do. But I feel like there's a seed being planted in your mind and your heart. Listen, even if the Empress is like, no, thank you to love, this is such an abundant reading. This is speaking about what you do. And truly, even if you're just beginning, it feels like a soul's calling. Like you're doing something your soul wanted to accomplish in this lifetime. For some of you, it may be like business ownership. Some of you may have a life path 8 or be in a personal year 8, because that's really about building up the material world. But not in an egotistical way. But anyways, so the Empress, it's like my morals are in check. Okay, let's keep this out, but let's go up to the conscious mind. What the hell was that? I think a bunch of snow just fell from my roof. Oh my gosh. Okay, where do I begin? Look at this, the Queen of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. The Nine of Swords. Look at this. Commitment. True love. I want to say, don't look at past love, or try not to, with like regret. Like, what the hell was I thinking? You were learning, you were growing. And we got to take that pressure off us, like, you know what I mean? Because that's what the Nine of Swords is. It's a lot of worry, and it's over your emotional house. But the Nine of Swords truly talks about unnecessary worry, especially if that may be why it's so important that we truly understand, number one, our worth. I mean, come on. The Two of Cups, and then we get the Four of Wands with that. And it's asking you, don't worry. And is Virgo energy, can be overthinking. Instead of trusting that first instinct, I overthink it. And I talk myself right out of it. And it is your right. But I don't know. I think like I don't want you to talk yourself out of this. Well, I don't know, it just popped up on my screen. The Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so I feel like that's answering a question for us. So it feels like, well, it feels like the subconscious mind that has now moved to the conscious mind. And I feel like, remember how we saw that Knight of Swords communication coming in? Well, I have a feeling it's happening here. And the first instinct may be fear. But I feel like the Eight of Pentacles answers that fear. Like, how do I know this will be any different? Well, number one, because I feel like you have evolved. And remember that energy must meet you wherever you're at. I can wish and hope for the highest vibration of love, but can I meet that? You know what I mean? Can I meet that? And that is where our experiences come in. You know, like instead of like, woe is me, I had a shitty life. Like, no, I have a strong soul. It wanted to learn, evidently wanted to learn a lot in this lifetime. But look at you now as the Empress or the Emperor. Doesn't matter which one. They're both high vibrational energy. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're high vibration. Okay. I want to come down to the Six of Cups. I don't know what is on my screen. Driving me a little crazy. Device setup. What the hell? You know, I have to tell you, and this is probably a Virgo trait. Well, my internet company kept increasing my bill and increasing my bill. And then, you know, I always pay my bills on time, you know, and that's a Virgo trait. Like, you want like, you know, it feels good to be able to pay your bill on time. So I never missed a bill. And then in August of last summer, I paid my bill. Um, and this is my fault, but it took them 3 weeks to take it out of my checking account. And I just assumed, I know, it was me. I just assumed that they had already taken it, so it ended up bouncing. Well, I called immediately, took care of it. They told me I had to get into an installment agreement, into an installment. And it was the only way, which makes no sense because I paid my bill, I paid the extra. So I was forced into it. And then what it's been doing is adding, and then they changed my payment date, like out of the blue, and then start putting late fees. And I was tired of it. I was tired of fighting with them every single month. So I told them this is it. Well, okay. So now my internet is shut off and I'm doing it in an open network. Um, so, you know, stubbornness, yes. But my principles won't let me continue with them. And they kind of got me by the balls because I'm in a royal area. Why can't I say the word? I'm in an area where there is no other internet. So, anyway. All right. So, anyways, I was saying in the Eight of Pentacles, you know, it does answer a question of in love, like, how do we know this will be successful? If you whatever you focus on in the Eight of Pentacles, it means it will only grow. Even as it relates to like your money. For some of you who may be thinking of starting a business, Eight of Pentacles tells you you don't have to know everything. You know, be willing to go in as the apprentice knowing that you will ultimately be the master teacher. And here is the master teacher. You already have it. All right. We have the Knight of Wands over the Emperor, and then we have the Three of Swords over the Three of Pentacles. First thing I feel is you just have been with some people who, they didn't recognize, I want to say, the glory within you. But I have a feeling they were a stepping stone. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like love and relationships, it's about learning and growing and evolving, right? And not every relationship's going to work out. But that doesn't mean that the next one won't. The next one might just be your person. But I definitely feel like you've been judged. Um, it could have been someone who told you, like, that you weren't worthy, but you had to believe, you had to find out within yourself. Now, with the Emperor and the Empress, this person would never say that to you. It would be the opposite. This person would recognize your gifts, your craft, your talents, and be like, wow, look at you go. I feel like the Emperor and the Empress, even with the Three of Pentacles, which can talk about partnerships and alliances, like they would be fantastic in business together, but also in love together. And listen, it may be both. I don't feel like the Three of Swords has anything to do about your future. I feel like this is past energy. And I just get this sense that just for a few of you, there is a fear factor. And I get it. And let's just put it this way. If we just allow ourselves to be in the Empress's energy, which means that we're loving, we're nurturing, we're powerful, we're nobody's fool, our intuition is strong, and that's what we trust. So if someone comes in and they have ill intent, her intuition will sing. There's no way to get by the Empress without her seeing the truth. And the same goes for the Emperor, by the way. So these two feel like really a match made in heaven. And in a way, they were. They were made in heaven. All right. Now I'm worried that my video stopped recording. Look at that. The Nine of Pentacles again. Over your hopes and your fears. I feel like there was just a time when you were around a lot of naysayers. And many of you put your dreams on hold, maybe for another. We saw the Justice card, like maybe I stayed home and let them pursue the career while I took care of the house and the kids, that type of thing. But where did that get me? Right? Now they got a great career. But in a way, though, that's really the negative way of thinking about it. I mean, I get it. But I feel like this is reminding you, you know, Virgo, you can create something out of nothing. Just know that. And if you allow yourselves to be in the Empress's energy, doesn't mean you're automatically saying yes to love. It means that you know the vibration that you want back. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Had a knock at the door. So, anyways, um, you know what else is interesting? It's funny when you sit back down and have a fresh pair of eyes. The Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the Emperor and the Emperor, the Empress and the Emperor, the Six of Cups, past lives, but potentially even this lifetime. So there could be two people who have like independent businesses or work in similar fields. I also feel that's why the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, subconscious, conscious, like-minded. All right, let's go to the final outcome. So remember, final outcome can always change. It's truly what you're thinking about, you're bringing about. Are you thinking in an optimistic energy? Are you thinking in a, like nothing ever happens for me? I hope not, because I feel like this is a month where, again, Spirit's going to reveal to you some pretty amazing things that's been going on behind the scenes while you're doing your thing. It's almost like you're building your stability. And behind the scenes, Spirit is helping to direct this love. Okay. Let's take what's face up first. Okay, Five of Wands. We don't want that. Page of Wands. My risk taker. And then, hello, victory and success. Oh, I forgot to bring my lid back down. Hello, victory and success. Look at that. So, we have to look at the Five of Wands, right? Because that's change. This is ego. This is fighting. This is no one backing down. And sometimes I feel like the only way to end this energy is to leave it. Is to know that who's ever fighting with you in this energy, part of me wants to say they don't know what they're talking about as it relates to you. They can believe whatever they want to believe. But I feel like someone is try to push their beliefs on you. And I just feel like it's just no longer. Just no longer. And then the Page of Wands, my risk taker. I often call the page my fool. Because this is someone that if they feel like if something is stirred within them, they're going to follow that. And the Page of Wands learns that not everything pays off, but it really does, like behind the scenes again. The Page of Wands, it is about learning that, when we get knocked down, we have to find a way to get back up again. But it's showing you in this state of victory, but also the energy of where other people now are looking up to you. Interesting, because you may began looking up to another, like maybe liking someone's work, and now you're doing something where people, they're probably seeking you out, especially if you have a business. And if you got epiphanies about this business, you better believe your spiritual team is going to help you. Like these little birdies whispering in the ear, just like the Empress, little epiphanies. All right, forgot I had these down here. The Three of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, emotional clearance or emotional clarity, and then the Seven of Wands. I feel like the experiences that Virgo went through and has overcome is now a big part of who they are, who you are, but in a much vibrational energy. So, what I mean is, before, I may have been the one asking all the questions, and now I'm the one who's receiving the questions. I now carry I feel like the stick of wisdom. And remember, you're naturally the hermit. So, a wise old soul. Okay. I think I'm going to bring out the romance angels, mainly because we have the Emperor and the Empress here. We have what I know is going to be a soulmate, and I pray it's the Emperor and the Empress, their energy. You are the Emperor or the Empress. And the one thing I want to say is maybe some of you don't feel that yet because neither the Emperor or the Empress carry this energy around. They know that anything can be figured out, especially the truth. But sometimes, especially if you have had a difficult love, sometimes fear does raise its ugly head when someone new comes in. And this is just telling you don't second guess it. It's okay to have that natural fear. That's just the human part of us. But then don't overthink it. Because that's exactly what this means, overanalyzing. To the point that it just becomes confusion. Because I feel like the true energy of those two cups are in the Four of Wands. And this is literally where, like, love is putting you on a pedestal. And you are doing the same for them. And I feel this is the energy of, like, once you connect, especially with the Emperor and the Empress, it will probably be for the rest of your life. I have to say probably, because you have free will. Your guides know that. And they can't interrupt your free will. But they can certainly, like, if you keep seeing, like, a certain number over and over again, take a moment. Think about what you were thinking about, because you may be receiving an answer. And if you have a moment, look that number up. Look it up under angel messages. All right. Romance, angels, romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. I can feel that. So I'm kind of glad it came out because I already feel that. Flirt. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. This sounds fun, especially with the Six of Cups. This sounds like an adventure, but an adventure of the heart. Look at this. It is safe for you to love. It is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. I want to remind you that the Six of Pentacles came out over the current energy, but in reverse. And that is not where my heart is open. This is not where I'm thinking about give and take. I'm putting the energy on me, which I do feel like it was the right move. But now, I feel like your spirit guides have been working hard behind the scenes. And how do I love that? Not only does it say it's safe for you to love, but it's telling you if you open your heart and you're able and willing to give, that you're also receiving the highest energy of all. This is why we got the Emperor and the Empress. As it relates to love, there is no one else I'd rather see. And I love that they were so close together. So, the moral of this story, keep doing you. Take those epiphanies and create. Know that success is meant for you. But it does take your action. I mean, we have to be real about that. And then I feel like, you know, have that awareness over those swords and who's putting them in you. Because then justice came out. And it is an opportunity to cut those cords. And you cut those cords. It's like I was stuck down here in quicksand and all of a sudden I'm like a balloon. I'm light as a feather. There's nothing in my way. What a different way of life. What a different way of life. This is one of those readings where you have to ask, can we really have it all? Well, the answer is yes. And by the way, this Seven of Pentacles, normally past energy doesn't hold a lot of weight at the table. But this is like your will. This is like your destiny. And this is a reminder that these seeds, and I feel like it's two seeds at least, are becoming your reality now. The patience that was needed in the Seven of Pentacles, no longer. And I'm going to let that be. I'm going to let that be because it's probably going to take 6 hours to upload now until I figure out what I'm going to do next with internet. But I'm going to let that be. I loved it. I love you, Virgo. Let me know. Definitely let me know, how you relate, where you're at. Do you feel the energy of the Empress or the Emperor yet? Because remember, that means that you can reach that vibration. And, life changes when that happens. It just does. Because it is energy meeting energy. And think about that. The highest energy of all. If I can give it, then I'm ready to receive it. If I can give it, I'm ready to receive it. And I'm going to let that be. Amen. And so it is. Thank you guys. I love you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye-bye.